So the first question is, why are we talking about airports and what is the connection to BFSI, right? So it seems like an odd topic to come and talk about. But I think it's going to be very interesting because this is something that is very much part of at least the banking segment and fintechs. But we are a very integral part of the entire industry. But many people may not have heard of us or what we really do. So I just thought I'll give you an overview about how the journey has taken, and it's been a very interesting last 10 years for us. So I'll just quickly explain what we do first. So when you go to a lounge, you typically have any credit card, debit card that gives you lounge access as an example. So that access is actually managed by us on behalf of all the banks. So pretty much any bank that you can think of, HDFC, ICICI, Axis, all of them actually use our tech and our platform and our services to enable these services. Our services include lounges, spas, golf, meet and assist, airport transfer. So when you get these services complimentary from your bank, or when it comes complimentary from a network such as MasterCard or Diners or any of these things, we are the OEM supplier of both the service and the tech that drives all of this. So that's how we are connected to the banking segment. Now, we are still very young company, we are only 10 years old, but in the last 10 years, there's been a lot of things that we have done differently. So we were a startup 10 years ago, today we are market leader. 90% of the transactions that happen in India on lounges happens through us. We have selected a niche industry. We've been fortunate. We've also been very selective of where we want to do and what we want to do. So we've selected a niche industry and we've been very, very successful in it. Of course, like any startup, like any other company, 10 years, we've done multiple pivots. We moved from a aggregator to a pure tech company today, where not only are we giving the service aggregation, but all the banks are using our technology for multiple things, and just talk about it in a bit. 90% of India's transactions happen on our platform. We went for an IPO 1 year ago. We were lucky to be successful in that. And today, we are at a stage where we are going and aggregating services over and above our traditional core offerings of lounges and spas and meet and assist, and they're working on a lot of new areas, and we're also expanding geographically. Now, let's not talk about us, please understand the industry a little bit more. So if you think about it, there are a lot of these companies and they are trying to solve different problems, driving engagement for the products. It could be optimizing the cost. So if you think about any bank, any product, even in your own companies, right? Different programs, different products have different challenges, and depending on the specific problem that they are trying to do, there would be different interventions that we have. So driving engagement means that you have a product, it is not getting engaged, you're not seeing the market traction, you need something to come and solve for that. You're trying to optimize cost. So you may have seen recently so many news articles where banks are trying to cut cost. So the pressure is there on some products, on some SKUs of the banks, and we are the ones who are trying to help them do that. When you launch a new product, you want to create differentiators. It could be a new product, it could be an existing product. Typically, you would see so many kiosks at the airports where different banks would come and pitch their solution to you. Sometimes it looks superficially the same, but there could also be differentiations that are required in the product. So we help do all of that. And last, we also help drive sales volume. Once the product is launched, sometimes there is no traction and we help drive that sale. So that's really our core focus. Now to do that, we've had a lot of industry challenges and industry first solutions. So we went from lounge cards to hybrid today, something called card based. I'll just talk about this. We define new access mechanisms, and I'll just talk about something that's coming in the future, which is personalization. Now this is interesting. If you remember 10 years ago, the only way to access a lounge used to be a card, and you needed to have that card and you used to give it at the counter and get into it. So the big disruption that we did almost about 7-8 years ago was that we said that why do you need that lounge access card? Why can't the bank card be used? So today if you go to any lounge today in India, you don't really need an independent plastic card. You use the same card issued from, let's say, whichever bank, and you can use that card to get into the lounge. So that was something that we created about 7-8 years ago. Today where we are is that still that's old. Now what we are doing is that there are multitude of solutions that we've created where the choice is to the consumer to decide how they want to use. So I'll give you a couple of interesting examples. For example, think from the point of view of a bank, right? Bank doesn't really want that somebody should download an independent app. We have so many apps which you don't use on our phones. So nobody is probably going to download a separate app just to get into a lounge or just to use my golf services. So what we are doing is we are packaging all of that technology. We are creating an SDK or a software development toolkit, and then the bank can embed that technology into their own banking app, and then that makes it very, very easy from a consumer discoverability and also showing them the visibility of benefits, and then finally getting or using those actual services. All of this is actually baked in by us and given, and we have quite a few other solutions as well. Now, this is something very, very recent, and I think it's a good time we are talking about this. So you may have seen a lot of articles that banks are trying to do spend-based. Lounge access is getting that if you spend so much money, you will get this benefit. So these are all tools for banks to manage the profitability of their independent product. And how do you remove access maybe to somebody who's abusing, in sense that if they're not using the card for transactions, but only using it for lounge access, that may not be a good customer for the bank. But you also don't want to penalize users who are good users, and you want to continue giving them the benefit. So there are a lot of tools that we have created, and surprisingly it didn't exist outside. So I'll talk about tiers. I joined this industry 5 years ago and was very surprised to realize that something that is so common in any other domain, take hotels, you have Marriott tier system, take any online marketplace, there are multiple tiers in Flipkart, there are tiers in Amazon, everything has a concept of tiers. But surprisingly, in the banking industry, for credit cards as an example, there is no concept of the tier. The only option for a bank is to upgrade the card to the next card. Okay? Now, once you upgrade the card from the point of view of the bank, it is very difficult to downgrade that card to a lower level card, because it is not good from a consumer experience. And if you don't downgrade, however, the associated cost continues to stay with the bank. So if the bank is giving you, let's say, unlimited golf, or giving you unlimited lounges, or unlimited meet and assist, it's very, very difficult to move the consumer back to the lower level card. So this is a logical solution if you think about it, that you can take any bank card, you can segment it into multiple tiers, as you would imagine tiers work anywhere else. But depending on the usage of the card, depending on any KPI that you want to drive, whether it's engagement, that's enrollment, are they using that card, based on any of these KPIs that is being connected to the product, you can downgrade or upgrade dynamically instead of having to change their IT system, send fresh plastic to the customer. All those life cycles have completely been changed. And something that goes along with it is campaigns, very similar to any other campaign that we run on any other tool. You can actually create cohorts. The banks typically has got very good analytical team who are able to identify subset of users, but post identification, they are unable to give benefits specific to that cohort. So using campaigns, you can start giving benefits specific to subset of users. So this is a very interesting thing, and you probably would have seen a lot of banks announcing spend-based models, spend-based tools, and all of this is based on our tech. Then something interesting on access mechanism. This you may already have seen. So in Bombay, for example, once you're going back, please note that it may have an Adani logo on it, but practically these are tech that we have developed and all the banks and the airports are using, where instead of you having to take your card and wait in line at the lounge, you can just go tap the card on this device. It generates a QR code. This QR code can then be taken, you bypass the line at the lounge, and you go directly inside. So this is a very interesting thing. We have not seen it at least done anywhere globally. So something very interesting for people to do a check-in exactly like the way you would do it for a flight. And why do it only when you are at the airport? You can do this while you are at home as well. So while you're on the move towards the airport, you can log into this environment. We call it web check-in, and register your card. First, you get to see all the benefits. So these are the 3-4 benefits that may be there in the card. And then you can generate a QR code within the app, and then that can be shown at the time of the launch. So all of these are very interesting and exciting new tech that we are developing. So all this is done. I just want to share a little bit of how we are thinking the future would be. So what used to happen is that banks typically have a concept that if you have a card from the bank, everyone in that user group tends to have the same benefit, right? So It is good maybe for consumers, maybe not good, but it's really, banks really don't have any control on that process. So the step one was to actually have some bit of modeling, so to say that I have some set of users who are doing card-based, I want to give some benefit to some users, but fairly rudimentary. So banks over the last 2-3 years, they have migrated to our tech, which is the tier-based solution, where banks are now saying that based on this group of users, I want to give this benefit, so on and so forth. So what we explained just now. However, this is where we are seeing the next level of benefit management that's coming in, where banks are now going and starting to give specific solution to specific people, which comes under the realm of personalization. So first one is, there are pre-configured packages. So let's say you get a new card in your envelope. When you log in to the environment, you can select which product you want the card to be, as opposed to the bank deciding it for you. So the benefit is the consumer gets a choice to create their own packages. Number one, why even a package? Why can't I really go and select my own bespoke services? And last but not the least, why the bank should not have an additional revenue opportunity. So you can actually go and purchase or subscribe to additional services that can be added to the core benefit of the card. So these are some new things that the banks are working on, and we are the ones who are helping them with this journey. So I think short pitch, just wanted to explain what we do. So we are available here. So I have my colleague Abhigyan as well over here. So we'll be quite happy to come and meet all of you if you have any questions. Thank you.